Hello, my name is Heather Burke and I'm a student at Vancouver Community College, and this is take number 33 of Classroom Assessment Technique number 33, Focused Autobiographical Sketches. What is an autobiographical sketch? Well, it is a classroom assessment technique that involves students writing a short personal reflection in response to a focused question. So students create that response to a focused prompt that addresses something a teacher wants to determine about the students. So it's some focused summary of personal experience. And the purpose of the CAT is to check where students are at, so basically taking the temperature of where the students are at the beginning of the course. And it gives teachers the opportunity to change course objectives if necessary. So, what's kind of neat about that is that you could adjust some of the course outcomes or course goals based on the particular group that you have in front of you. And I really like that idea because then coursework can seem more personalized and relationships can develop. In what context would this strategy work best? Well, I've said it's a good CAT for taking the temperature of the class, but it works best when students are starting or restarting in a learning situation. And most often it's used in introductory courses. It's good for students who are undergoing self-improvement, for students who are learning how to develop critical thinking skills, self-awareness, and self-confidence. And what are some limitations? So there are a few. So they can be difficult to assess. So as you can imagine, it's like, well, how do you assess somebody's personal experience? I personally don't think I'd want to do that. So teachers do have to develop their own assessment strategy for their students' work. And there's no like standardized accepted marking rubric for this CAT. So another thing to keep in mind is that it can be time consuming to read. So that might be some things that you'll want to think about when you're working through these. There's definitely some upsides. So I said earlier that it gives teachers a chance to tailor the class to the students in it. And teachers can take a take it or leave it approach to the material revealed. So if there's something that you couldn't use, you can be like, hey, I'll leave that out. Or, yep, I'm gonna bring that into the mix and maybe change things up a little bit. So it's a really effective approach to keeping the material relevant to the course. And teachers will probably find there's some relevant experiences that can be pulled from the sketches that maybe they didn't think of. So I'm always a great believer in serendipity and coming across things for a reason. So there might be something there that you never thought of that you can use in the classroom, or maybe highlight if somebody's going through a hard time, maybe refer them back to their sketch. Some best practices is to determine what you want to focus on. So that's got to be really clear for students when you're creating the prompt. And make sure that it's related to the course goals and objectives. Limit the sketch to a certain time frame and a certain aspect of your students' lives, and that'll reduce the chances of meandering, aimless stories. And because this CAT is primarily used to see where students are starting from, make sure that it's only used once at the start of the course. If you used it every week, it could probably feel a bit inauthentic, and frankly, I don't think that you'd want to read that many autobiographical sketches. And due to the time-consuming nature of both the writing and the reading of this, you'll probably want to use it with a smaller class. So feedback. How will you provide feedback to your learners for this strategy? Well, I think that you need to decide whether you want to assess it at all. I think it can be difficult to assess personal experience, but if there is some assessment model that you come up with, make sure that it is clear to students and that directions for the writing of the sketch are really explicit. just so that there's no misunderstandings, which could lead to like bad relationships right from the start, which is definitely something that you don't want to do. You could also use less traditional feedback models. So you can turn responses into a think, pair, share exercise where students have form out into breakout groups and use their individual stories as and share their stories with each other, and then maybe pull out some commonalities or items that they want to share with the group as a whole, and that can be relevant to the entire class. So thank you for listening to my presentation, and I have included some references at the end there in case you would like to have a look. Thank you and have a great day.